BESSELJ function. It's a Bessel function of the first kind where the syntax BESSELJ x comma n. X is the value at which to evaluate the function, and n is the order of the function. We'll copy this formula of the BESSELJ and paste it on our Excel spreadsheet. Control V. So here's the BESSELJ function. And likewise, we also use it on our Google Sheets. So Control V. So we have this. We'll use this one to calculate the BESSELJ. We begin with Excel because it's a function already in Excel. So we use BESSELJ. So Bessel of x comma n, and the value of n is data validation from the list 0, 1, 2. Then okay. So we can use 0. We can also use 1. So here we have a problem here. We cannot use dynamic array on the BESSELJ function. So instead, we will use the crude absolute reference, where we have the absolute reference of 12, B12, which is our n, and we drag this downwards. And refresh. You need to refresh. It does not update. And we can calculate the Taylor series expansion, which is the summation of a times x to the power n plus 2k, where the value of k is from 0 to infinity. And we will refresh. So 19 is our infinity. And the value of a is equal to, we'll try the dynamic array, -1 raised to the power k. So -1 raised to the power k. That's the numerator. Now the denominator. So that's the numerator. Denominator, the first one is factorial k. So factorial of k. That's the first part. The second part. The second part is gamma n plus k plus 1. So gamma n plus k plus 1. And the third part, times 2 raised to the power n plus 2k. So 2 raised to the power the quantity n plus 2 times k. Close the parenthesis and enter. So we can change this to 0. Right now it's 0.5. It begins with 0.5. We can change this to 0. And refresh. Now it's 1. Now we can complete the Taylor series expansion, which is series sum. We cannot use dynamic array on series sum. So we'll just use this series sum. We'll use the absolute reference. So x comma, so x raised to the power n plus 2k, where n plus 2k starts from n, incremented by 2k, where 2k is 2, 4, 6, 8, so 2. And the coefficient, it will be this range, E3 to E22. So E22. And we lock our reference because we cannot use dynamic array. So and enter. And we drag this. Then refresh. Now we have an error. So if there's an error, it should be 1. So correct this. If error, if error, if error, comma, 1. And we drag this downwards. And we refresh. Now it's corrected. Now we complete the Taylor series. We grab this, insert chart. It doesn't work. We don't want the column as label, so we just insert this, insert chart. And we use scatter chart, so this one we don't need this. We don't need this. We also don't need the legend because we're going to use the equation. For the series, show the trend line. The type, polynomial. For the degree, 6. And display the equation. Continue with the series 2. Show the trend line. Polynomial. The order 6. And display the equation. So they overwrite each other. So both equations are seen. We calculate this polynomial regression coefficient using LINEST. To do that, we complete the LINEST matrix. This will be equal to, we don't use array formula, but we use the x values raised to the power the dynamic array 0 to 6. And we correct this because any number raised to the power 0 is 1. So to correct that, if this is 0, then 1, otherwise calculate. Now it's corrected. Now we can use LINEST. LINEST data y and data x. Likewise, LINEST data y and data x. So we just completed the BESSELJ function using Excel. Now we continue with the Google Sheets. In the Google Sheets, you don't have a BESSELJ function, but it's a summation of a times x to the power n plus 2k, where the value of n is 0 to infinity, and the value of a is equal to array formula minus 1 raised to the power k, comma, that's the numerator. Now the denominator, factorial k. Second part, gamma n plus 2k, so our n plus 2k plus k plus 1 plus 1. And finally, the third part, 2 raised to the power 2n plus k, 2 raised to the power n plus 2k, so n plus 2k. And the value of n will be data validation list of items 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, and save. You can use 0, 1, and 2. Now we continue with the series sum. So array formula, series sum of the x values raised to the power n plus 2k, where n plus 2k starts from n, incremented by 2k, where 2k is 2, the interval is 2, and the coefficient, it will be this range, and enter. And we'll chart this. Insert chart, and we use scatter chart. Column is label. We don't need this. And for the series, show the trend line. Polynomial to the degree 6. For the legend, position at the bottom. That's at the bottom. So here's a trend line. We calculate this polynomial regression coefficients using LINEST. To do that, we complete the LINEST matrix. So it's equal to array formula of the x values raised to the power 0 to 6, and enter. Now we can use LINEST. Data y and data x. So we start at 0. So our spreadsheet for Excel, we have this, the polynomial regression coefficient. For Google Sheets, we have this. At n equals 1. So we change Bessel function to n equals 1, this first order. But we have to refresh this. So that's n1. So this is 0, 0.457, 0.56, and so on. We check this. Also 0, 0.4759, 0.056, and so on. We change this to 2. But we have to refresh this. Change this also the Google Sheets to 2. It's the same format. And we still have the same polynomial regression coefficients as well as in Google Sheets, the same 0.147, and this is also 0.0147. This is 0, times the minus 15, that's 0. So this completes the comparison of the BESSELJ using Google Sheets and Excel. The series sum does not use the dynamic array.